Hey y'all, it's Katie and welcome back to KateMas. As always, as I like to do in these videos, I want to remind you that there is a giveaway going during the month of December. I will have it linked up here, and also it'll be the first link down below in my description box so you guys can find it. But I am celebrating KateMas with a giveaway all month long, so if you want to check it out, see what the prizes are, see how many winners there are going to be, all that is going to be in my initial intro to KateMas video, which you can find linked down below. But for today's video, we are going to be jumping into a makeup tag. I totally missed out on this when it first came out, and while I feel like I've missed the boat, I still want to do it because it sounded like a super fun makeup tag, and it's called the Bad and Boring Makeup Tag, and it is by the creator Lisa Lobotomy. I will have her channel linked down below and you can check it out. Like I said, this happened a long time ago and I can't believe I never did it, but since I didn't do it, I was like, you know what? I want to do it during KateMas because it's a video that I would really like to do. I just can never fit into my schedule, so we are doing that here today. Really quick, I did want to say if you want to know what's on my eyes, there's a bunch of shadows from Menagerie Cosmetics. I did a palette bingo. That video should already be live, so I will leave that linked up here. And then I just added lashes and a glitter topper on top for this video to kind of change it up a little bit. But yeah, if you want to see what eyeshadows specifically I used to get this look, it'll be in that video because there were 6 different ones from 3 different palettes. So anyway, yeah, I think that is everything I wanted to say before we go ahead and just dive right in. I think there are 10 questions, so let's get to it. Okay, so question number 1, a foundation finish you don't like. I would have to give this to a dewy foundation. I am not a fan of dewy foundation, mainly because I feel like throughout the day you get dewy eventually, at least I do. I tend to have very oily skin. I do have more dry when I'm pregnant, but for the most part, I always have oily skin, and then just doing things, I sweat easy when I'm pregnant, so even though I have dry skin, I'm constantly like going back and forth between being very hot and then being very cold, sweating, whatnot, so I just feel like no matter what, I just have this kind of healthy glow to my face by the end of the day, no matter the foundation. So if I were to leave my makeup table with a dewy foundation, I just feel like I would hate it by the end of the night and just feel like a grease ball, look like a grease ball, and that's just not a trend or a vibe that I personally like. I don't mind a highlight. I love a pretty highlight. I love a little bit of healthy glow to my face in general, but I feel like I just naturally get that, so I don't want to start there because then by the end of the day I just feel like I'm melting, and so yeah. That was very easy for me when I read that. I was like, oh yeah, dewy foundation, not my jive. I like a natural finish, I'll do that, but no thanks, not dewy. Question number 2, the worst mascara you have ever tried. I have the worst memory, so I might have tried an even worse mascara than this, but this was a mascara I tried not too long ago, this past summer, and oh my goodness, it was so bad, and it was the 100% Pure Mascara. I'll go ahead and put it here on the screen if you guys want to see. This mascara right here was terrible. I already mentioned and kind of hashed out why I thought it was so bad in my fails video, but just to rehash very quickly, it didn't really transfer at all into my eyes. It was a very dry formula to begin with, so it was really hard to try to comb through your lashes and get it to adhere. It didn't give you any volume. It didn't give you any like fluff or anything. It gave you very, just kind of like tinted your lashes barely. And on top of all that, it flaked like crazy on my face throughout the day. So it was just like, no point to that mascara. Every aspect of that mascara I absolutely did not like and did not get. I mean, I feel like everyone has different preferences when it comes to mascara, but that just seems so pointless. And then on top of like just how natural and like, what did it really do to my lashes? Like the kind of finish it gave me? It was flaking all over the place, and it was just like, yeah, no thank you. I don't have time for that. So yeah, that mascara was pretty darn terrible. Question number 3, one thing you tried once and then threw away. Okay, again, I have a very bad memory, so I feel like there are definitely products that I have thrown out or just was like, tried it, and was like, yeah, I'm not even trying or attempting to put this on my face again. But I really struggled to think because as a reviewer, I tend to, even if I hate it and my initial gut reaction is just to like toss it and be done with it, I try to give it a second chance. Kind of like the glitter that's on my eyes today. Absolutely hated my first experience, but you know, I was like, I applied it a little heavy, let me give it a second chance, apply it lighter, and just see. So I kind of always make myself at least give it 2-3 tries if I can. At least 2 tries, you know. If it's really terrible, then 2 tries I feel like is enough. I'm not going to torture myself. So anyway, with that said, I don't really often try things once and then just like get it out of my collection, but I do remember the Beaute Basics Bronzed Essentials. Again, I'll stick a picture up here. I should just scoot over for this video. Maybe I'll do that. Okay, we'll keep trucking from here. But yeah, this palette right here, it came in a BoxyCharm. I tried it once. and I never even attempted to try it again. It was really hard to blend out and chalky, but not only that, the pans, like there was no separation between the highlighter shades and then the bronzer or the contour shades, so it was impossible to try and get one specific shadow without kind of bleeding over, and like if you wanted to do your contour, you would have a little bit of highlight in there too. It was a hot mess, and so I tried it once. It was so hard to get my brush in there, and then when I tried to blend it out, it was a patchy, difficult mess, and I was just like, yep, not even worth trying. I'm not going to go through the struggle. And that's one product I can just remember trying once and was just like, yeah, I don't need to try this anymore. It's terrible, especially because I'm pretty sure it like retailed for like $50 or $49. It was ridiculous, and the packaging made you think it was like a $2 product. It was so cheap. Question number 4, the most boring eyeshadow palette you own. I went back and forth because initially when I first thought of this and I wasn't sitting at my collection, I was like, I feel like the Tartelette in Bloom is a really boring palette now, despite how much I loved it back then. But it's not terrible. Like it's boring, yes, but there was a palette that when I opened it, I was like, oh my goodness. Like every time I open this, I'm just like, this is so boring. The only reason I own it and keep it is just to keep the collection, but it is the Too Faced Chocolate Bar Palette. I see that and I'm just like, oh, it's so washed out and boring. I just immediately yawn and put it back on my shelf and never even think to get it. And the only like the pops of colors in here are basically these two that really pop out to me. And they're just so sheer and washed out. And this shade I remember just being terrible because it's like one of those kind of, I guess, a satiny type of shadow with a bunch of very loose glitter in it. And like, look at that, oh, I don't know, pigmentation's not there. I didn't swatch it very heavily. If you want me to give it a proper try, let me give it a good try just so no one can accuse me of anything. I'm really going into that pink because it's not coming off on my finger. So here's that pink that's not there, and then here's that purple. So I don't know, it's just the only pops of colors in here are just feel like they're so watered down and sheer and just not nice shadows. And then everything else about this palette just feels so lukewarm and sheer and watered down, and yeah. Very boring to me now. Like I said, the only reason I keep it is because I have like 4 of the eyeshadow palettes in this collection, and I have them, so why get rid of them now? And this is so old too because this is the original chocolate bar. I've had it for I don't even know, 5 years, 6 years. I feel like it's too old. If I were to get rid of it, I would just throw it away. So I keep it because I do like the packaging. I know, that's ridiculous, but it's the truth. Question number 5, a makeup trend you think is boring and want to go away. I've mentioned this in the past as I'm not someone who is super in with the trends, and even when I hear about trends, it's like, oh, if it interests me, I'll try it out. But for the most part, I tend to just do what I enjoy, and trends come and go, and I kind of just ignore them, and they do their thing, I do my thing kind of thing. So I never really pay super much attention to it. So for me personally, like I really don't care if they come and go, they can be there for people who enjoy trends. But for me, I do what I like. I still wear liquid lipsticks even though they are so not the trend anymore, but I still enjoy them. So that's just kind of like my initial thought when it says, you know, what trend do you wish will go away? I really don't care. But one trend I just don't get the point of, I guess you could say, is the like no makeup look. And not just the no makeup look, because there are days, you know, when I go very light with my face makeup or something like that, but like the makeup that people spend, I don't know, 15, 20, 30 minutes doing. And then when they leave their makeup table, it's like you can tell that they have darker lashes and that maybe their lips are tinted a bit, but it just looks so natural. It looks like they don't have any makeup on. And for me, I'm just kind of like, I just wouldn't put any makeup on, and that would be my no makeup. Like I had no problem going out without any makeup on. But for me, if I'm going to spend the time, you know, 30 minutes or whatever to sit down and do my makeup, I want it to kind of look like I did something and not just like a slightly more, you know, airbrush look to my face in general, if that makes sense. I know some people are totally into it, so that's why it's kind of like, hey, everyone does what they want. It's not my thing though. I never understand it. If I'm going to spend that much time, I'd want at least to have like a wing or like really thick lashes, or my under eyes to kind of be totally gone, a light powder, a little bit of contour, like something like that. And I just feel like there's that trend. I'm just thinking of like Glossier. That brand in general is just like that trend of, you know, oh, you spent time doing your makeup, but it looks like you just woke up and left the bed. And for me, I'm like, well, I'll just get up, wake up, and leave the bed, and that's my makeup. Like, I'm done. So yeah, I guess that would be a makeup trend that I'm just kind of like, I don't get the point of spending that much time to make it look like you didn't spend any time on it. Question number 6, the worst liquid lipstick you have tried. Again, it's so hard because I have such a bad memory, but one liquid lipstick that I can remember just being so bad was a Beauty Bakerie Lip Whip. Now, granted, I did get the color was in a very light shade, but it was so sheer, it was so drying, it went on so patchy, and it was so uncomfortable. I talked about it more in depth, and I think my makeup fails for the year of, 2018 was last year. I'm pretty sure I went in depth about it, and I like linked to a video if you want to see like me trying, because I think that was the lipstick, like I would put my lips together and it was so sticky, like I have to pull my lips apart just to open my mouth. It was one of those type of liquid lipsticks. I hate those. Like, I don't want to be, feeling like my lips are sticking together when I'm talking or whatnot. But yeah, that very uncomfortable to wear. It didn't look nice. It was very patchy and just streaky and whatnot. Didn't look cute, accentuated all the lines, but yeah, that was one. I don't have perfect enough lips to wear that, and since I do have lines and I do tend to have more dry lips, that was one that just looked absolutely terrible the first time I tried it. And I want to say, I think I tried it twice, so see this again, I at least try something 2 times before totally, doxing it or, giving it a bad review. But I tried it another time with like a lip liner underneath, and it was still just as bad. Question number 7, what color do you think is the most boring one? I would have to say gray, because I feel like anytime I use gray on my eyes, it just doesn't excite me. Like, even brown or like a tan, I prefer a little more than gray, because at least that I can use to start to warm up my crease and get things going and then add something else to it. But I guess if I had to, put them both on the same playing field, tan and gray in my eyes are just kind of the same, because it's those colors that don't excite me to use it. They don't really do much for me. They're just kind of like those transition shades. If I had to do a whole look with just, tan on my eyes or just using gray or even black, honestly, but mainly gray, I just would feel so bored, because I feel like it's not a fun color. Like, I don't know, I enjoy using color, and even if I'm going to use a bunch of brown, like I want another pop of color in there somewhere. So if I were just, I don't know. I was thinking about it and trying to think of a color that I really think is just boring, and gray is the first thing that came to my mind. I was just like, it just feels like no color, it's a grayscale. It's just boring, and there's no color, there's no vibrancy to it. So gray would have to be my pick. Question number 8, what brand do you think comes out with the most boring things? It's a tie for me between Tarte and Benefit. I feel like they both can equally bring out some pretty boring releases. Like, I think Benefit has a couple palettes, but they've never turned my eye, because they are just varying shades of really diluted coffee. Like when someone likes to use a lot of creamer, that's kind of what comes to mind when I look at a Benefit eyeshadow palette. It's just like, varying shades of really light brown. No thank you. And then Tarte also is another one. I feel like they're constantly coming out with different and new products and new palettes, but barring like the outside packaging being really pretty, the insides are basically always like this. So I just find that so boring, because they really don't vary up much between the different types of brown and maybe a warm reddish tone color that they use in their palettes. So those two, I don't know. I can't decide which one is more boring, but those two are pretty boring brands to me. I like their more complexion products, and those excite me a little bit more, but if we're talking about, like eyeshadow palettes and whatnot, both of those brands is just, they've never excited me at all. Question number 9, which step in your makeup routine is the most boring one? This is easy for me. Mascara, honestly, or brows. Those two are kind of tied. When I get to that step, and that's usually my very last, I save that for the very end. After I've done my entire face makeup, maybe I still have to do my lips, but after I've done everything else, I'll do my brows and my mascara. And it's just so boring. I just wish, I guess mascaras more so than brows, because like at least brows, like I can take a brow gel, tinted, run it through a couple times, and that's all I feel like I need. It's still very boring, but it's a relatively quick job for me to do. But mascara is just so boring, because it's just like coating your lashes and coating your lashes, and it's a step that I can't skip. because I feel like it makes a difference, but you really have to do several layers and really amp it up and spend the time to really help your lashes make sure they're still able to be seen through, you know, whatever kind of eye look you have going. And I'm someone who doesn't tend to wear lashes that often. I know I have them on my eyes today, but I tend to not day in, day out. I really don't wear lashes that often, and so I depend on my mascara to give me as much volume as I can. So for me personally, I just feel like I have to spend like 5, 6, 7 minutes. It's just coating and coating and coating to really amp it up and get the volume that I want. And it's just, I don't know, it's just so boring because it's just a step that's like, once you do it, you never really notice it anymore. But if you didn't do it, you would really notice it, and you have to spend the time doing it. It just takes so long. And at least, you know, like wing liner takes a long time, but at least afterwards it's like, ooh, that's a really pretty wing. It makes a really big difference. It kind of just always makes me feel like I complete the look. But mascara, it's like, yeah, I would notice it if I didn't do it, so I have to do it. But at the same time, once you do it, it's not something you really ever notice after that. So it's just a very boring step in my makeup routine. Question number 10, last question is, if you had to choose between a good base and a bad eye look, or a bad base and a good eye look, which one would you choose? Okay, so I watched a bunch of videos like when I first stumbled across it. I feel like I watched this late. I don't remember when this came out, but anyway, once I discovered it, I was watching everyone's videos, and I feel like everyone said a good base and a bad eye look because you can just put on sunglasses. But the eyeshadow lover in me was just like, oh, but I don't want to have a bad eyeshadow look. I really don't, I don't know, that just bugs me, something about it. So I feel like even though I would not like to have a bad base, I'd rather have a good eye look and have that be on point, and then just my base makeup look a little funky for the day. Because honestly, too, I feel like there are many days that I leave the house and my base makeup is a little questionable. So yeah, as weird as that is, and I feel like as opposite as that is to everyone, and as much as I would hate having a really bad base, I think I would have to pick a good eye look and a bad base because I just really like my eye looks, and when they don't work out, it really bums me out. And I don't know, I just always like to have a fun eye look that's at least the blend's on point, at least the wing's on point kind of thing. And hey, if my base makeup isn't good, oh well. Alright, so those are all my answers for the bad and the boring makeup tag. I hope you guys enjoyed hearing my answers, and even though I'm super late to this tag, I hope it was still fun to listen to. But I had a lot of fun coming up with the answers as always, and if you haven't done this tag, if you're like me, super late to it, totally do this and consider yourself tagged by me and let me know when you do it, and I'll love to watch your video. But I had a lot of fun coming up with my answers for these questions. But anyway, yeah, I think that is going to do it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys so much for participating in KateMas this year. I am so excited to be able to be bringing you guys an upload every day in the month of December, or not every day, but the first 25 days leading up till Christmas. After that, Mama's busy with the baby. But yeah, I am super excited to be doing daily uploads up until Christmas, and don't forget to check out the giveaway. But yeah, with all that said, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in tomorrow's video.